repetitive exposure, it is important what we watch and to be careful of them because they build who we are.
Exactly.
Consciously or unconsciously.
Definitely.
And you make reference to a product, Coca-Cola, that, they advertise and show their brand on anywhere
every
and
platform.
anything and everywhere.
Yeah. So to the point where you think you love Coca-Cola, but did you really have a choice?
Because that's all.
That's all you ever see. You know what I mean? You don't have like.
And you know what? I'm not sure if it's common here in South Africa, but in Nigeria, where I grew up, when you send a kid to go and buy we call it soft drink. It's called cold drink here.
Yeah.
The elder would say, or whoever would say, go and buy me Coke.
Yeah.
And what the person actually wanted is probably Fanta or Sprite.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happens here in South Africa.
Okay.
Like, I mean, when we were growing up, literally they would say, "Go get me a Coke, get Fanta."
Imagine.
Yeah, go get me a Coke, because Coke has replaced soft drink.
So take us through that concept. As we round off. Repetitive exposure.
Yeah. So the concept, as you said, the principle is that everything that we expose to. Whether externally or internally, whether internally meaning an internal dialogue, whatever you tell yourself over and over again, whatever you told by others over and over again, the environment that you're exposed to over and over again, it shapes who you are. It's the principle of repetition. So that exposure. So whether you watching, if you're going to be watching MTV, you want to dress like an MTV, the MTV stars, because that's what you're constantly exposed to, music, how we fall in love. Sometimes you just don't like a song, but because radio just keeps playing it over and over again, now it becomes, your favorite song, and
unconsciously you find yourself singing it.
Yeah, you find yourself exactly, humming that tune, So and that repetitive exposure build our belief systems. Eventually they become belief systems. So whether you're in a township where you're surrounded by crime, at first you might feel that the crime is bad, but if you keep exposing yourself to it, you get accustomed to it, and it becomes okay. You might be in an environment, if you're white, that is racist. At first it might feel wrong, but eventually you start accepting it and you start seeing, so whatever we keep seeing, we normalize, and if it's low expectations, that's what happens, so it becomes a consciousness, it becomes a frequency that we vibrate at, that we operate at, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, so that dialogue becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, which also goes to that anyone can be an entrepreneur, because whatever dialogue they have in their minds, it will either tell them that you can be an entrepreneur, you can think entrepreneurial or not, So I start the book with that principle. Obviously, I go much deeper into it so that people can understand. And then I use the very same principle as a solution out. So the way you conditioned is the very way that you recondition your mind, because now you're taking the control over the conditioning. So as a child, you don't have control over what your conditioning is like, because your mother, your society, your immediate family, is what's conditioning you. Your ABCs, what you think, how you dress, And
you made the example also to the times table, the multiplication table.
Exactly.
And when I was doing my research, preparing for this interview, when I read that part about the multiplication table, immediately.
Yeah.
I just remembered how we used to chorus the multiplication table. 2 times 2.
Exactly. 4.
2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6.
That was heavy conditioning, and we can still do it even today because of that. It was a heavy. It's that repetitive process, and I also speak to the fact that there's that saying that says practice makes perfect, and I'm like, nah, practice makes permanent, because if you're practicing something the wrong way, you're just going to be very good at doing
the
wrong
thing.
So that's how powerful the power of repetitive exposure is. It cements those habits. So now you can start new habits. You can start creating new habits, new ways of thinking, new ways of vibrating, and then repetitively get used to them until they become your
Power of
new
you.
your new vibrational set point, and then now that's what we call transformation, because that means
Yes.
now you are a new person.
Yes.
You're no longer vibrating as that other person, you're no longer thinking as that other person, you're no longer doing things as that other person. You've actually, in fact, you can't even attract the very same thoughts that the other person that you were.
You start repelling those.
Yeah, you start repelling those, and you start attracting new things that you have decided
Wow.
that you
This
want.
is
So,
powerful.
and that becomes the process of personal transformation.
This is powerful.
Hey man, people must just buy the book, man. I think the president.
And that is-
I think the president must get the book. You know. Yeah.
And that is reimagining yourself.
Reimagining myself, yeah. And you'll see the cover. It's written 3 times, because just when you think you're done, you're gonna find another reason to reimagine yourself, and you're gonna find another reason. So it's like you just keep ascending and ascending and ascending and becoming the better version of yourself. And then when you get to the top, it's like, no, you can still go higher.
Yes.
You get to the top, you can still go higher, because we are infinite beings.
Absolutely. There's always more.
There's always more. There will always be more. We are creative beings. We create our realities. So there will always be more. There's always a better version of you waiting for you to catch up.
Wow.
Yeah.